Imagine it's Sunday evening. The air in your living room is thick with the scent of an overprocessed dinner and the desperate humidity of a family pretending the Monday morning gears aren't already grinding to life. You're looking for quality time, that pathetic modern anesthetic we use to numb the existential dread of the work week. You're huddled like refugees around the glowing heart of the 21st century, the television. You reach for the remote, that oil-stained plastic scepter of domestic power, and click it on. The first thing that hits you isn't a laugh track. It's a frantic news anchor, sweating under the 3000 watts of studio lighting, screaming about a sudden unexplained spike in local crime. You see grainy CCTV footage, the glint of steel, yellow tape flickering under the strobe light, blue of squad car. A drop of sweat slides down your spine. You switch the channel. Next, a documentary about a serial killer who targeted ordinary families in quiet neighborhoods. The narrator's voice is a gravity bass that vibrates in your teeth. You flip again. Violent protests in a country whose name you can't even spell, but you can almost smell the burning rubber through the screen. Desperate for sanctuary, you switched for cartoons for the kids. At least here nobody stays dead, you think. But you stumbled onto Happy Tree Friends. Within 5 seconds the stuttering blue bunny is fed headfirst into a wood chipper in a glorious high-definition crimson. Suddenly the room is too small. You stand up, check the deadbolt on your front door. Did you lock it twice? You turn down the volume to hear if the porch steps groan. You peer through the blinds at your neighbor. Yesterday he was just the guy who mows his lawn too early. Tonight he's a variable, a potential lead in a cold case file. The world hasn't changed in the last 10 minutes, but your soul has been rewired. Welcome to the Mean World Syndrome. You aren't just watching the screen is eating you alive. Before we dissect the syndrome, we have to look at the man who saw the monster crawling out of the 20th century. George Gerbner wasn't some soft ivory tower academic hiding in a library that smelled of vanilla and decay. He was a man who had looked the mean world in its literal blood-flecked eyes. Born in Hungary, Gerbner fled to the US to escape the rising tide of fascism. But he didn't hide in Pennsylvania's basement. He joined the OSS, the shadowy, jagged-edged precursor to the CIA. He was a paratrooper who dropped behind enemy lines with the kind of ice in his veins you only get from staring the death until it blinks. Here is the raw, noir truth. Gerbner was the man who personally helped capture the pro-Nazi Hungarian Prime Minister. Imagine that scene, the damp, cold streets of a broken Europe, Gerbner snapping cold iron handcuffs onto the architect of genocide. When Gerbner returned to academia in 1950s, he didn't look at television as a marvel or modern science. He looked at it as a high-frequency psychological weapon. He saw that the propaganda machines he fought in the trenches hadn't been dismantled. They had just been miniaturized and disguised as mahogany living room furniture. He launched the Cultural Indicators Project, meticulously documenting every punch, gunshot and scream on American television. He divided society into two camps, the light viewers and the heavy viewers, those huffing the media exhaust for over 4 hours a day. The data was staggering. In the 1990s, real-world crime rates were plummeting, but heavy viewers believed that they were living in a violent apocalypse. Why? Because the box doesn't care about statistics, it cares about frequency. If you see a stabbing every 30 minutes on screen, your primitive lizard brain assumes there is a stabbing every 30 minutes in your hallway. You're being cultivated like a crop in a field of fear, and the harvest is highly profitable. The Mean World Syndrome isn't just a mood, it's a cognitive lobotomy. It operates through specific, jagged pillars of distortion. First is the overestimation of the kill. Heavy viewers believe they have a massive, statistically impossible chance of being a victim of violence. This leads to preemptive mourning. You start living like a victim before anyone has even looked at you funny. You buy tactical gear for a trip to the grocery store, install cameras you'll stare at until 3 a.m. and teach your kids that every stranger is a monster in a human suit. Trust the invisible glue of civilization dissolves. Your community dies a quiet death. replaced by shivering individuals hiding behind iron fences. Then comes the most dangerous part, the demand for iron heels. Fearful people don't want freedom, they want certainty. They want a strong man to crack heads until the world feels safe again. As Gerbner told Congress in 1981, terrified people will welcome repression if it promises to relieve their insecurities. Violence on TV isn't just a ratings grab, it's an investment in a compliant population. A scared society doesn't ask questions about corporate greed or political corruption. They just ask, will you keep the monsters away? But wait, there's a hilarious, pathetic double cross here called the reassurance theory. Some researchers found that people actually watch violence because it acts as a drug that makes them feel superior. You watch a serial killer getting caught by a genius detective on Law and Order, and you feel a sense of karmic reassurance. You sit on your couch in your sweatpants, safely wrapped in consumer goods, thinking, I'm glad the good guys are winning. It creates a justice fantasy. It tricks you into thinking the system works perfectly, so you don't need to get your hands dirty in the real world. Now, whether you are terrified or reassured, the result is identical. You stay on the couch. If Gerbner thought 1970s television was a threat, he would be screaming into the abyss of 2026. We no longer have broadcasts, we have the algorithm. We have moved from slow TV drip of fear to a direct injection of pure, uncut panic. The main world is no longer a general haze, it's a surgical strike. If you click on one video of a street fight, the algorithm, a series of cold, soulless mathematical lines of code, concludes that your engagement is tied to rage. It feeds you 20 more. Your feed becomes a 24/7 loop of ring cam footage showing stolen packages and suspicious shadows. Outrage is the fuel, and your internal peace of mind is a waste product. We have become self-cultivators. We refresh our feeds to see if the world has ended yet, and the algorithm, sensing blood in the water, is more than happy to tell us that the world is burning right now in a 4K resolution. The ultimate result is a total collapse of the social contract. We have built a civilization where we are more emotionally connected to a massacre 10,000 miles away than we are to the elderly woman dying of loneliness 10 feet from our front door. We know every detail of a serial killer's childhood, but we don't know our neighbor's last name. We are living in an era of global paranoia and local isolation. Gerbner was never a fan of banning content. He was a soldier. He knew that prohibition is just a free marketing campaign for the forbidden. His solution was much harder: media literacy. You have to become a cosmic cartographer of your own mind. You have to look at the news reports not as the truth, but as a highly sophisticated product designed to capture your attention and sell it to the advertisers. You have to ask, who is selling me this fear? What are they trying to hide by shining a spotlight on this specific tragedy? If you don't learn to read the map, you will spend your whole life shivering in a forest of someone else's making. The world is a messy, jagged, and often cruel place, but it's also a place of 8 billion small, boring, unrecorded acts of kindness that occur every single day. Those acts never make the news because a man helped his neighbor carry a heavy box, doesn't sell home security systems or political campaigns. Don't let the algorithm dictate the architecture of your soul. Double-check your sources like you're checking a weapon before a mission. Look out your actual window instead of your digital one, and of course, be sure to watch my next video, because in this mean world, the only thing you can trust is the guy on the screen telling you not to trust the screens. Stay strange, stay sharp. I'm out.